The more problems you solve, the better you become. Like your skill level goes, first of all, your judgment improves, your skill level improves, and your luck increases. You see, there's a
Yeah.
factor of luck here. So, how do you create luck? You network more. And when you network more, you have more allies that can help you solve the problems.
Hey, welcome guys. My name is Julian Castle, and today I've got Cherif Medawar. Cherif is a commercial real estate investor who has a lot going on. He's going to be sharing with us his strategies and how he's gotten, the portfolio size that he has right now. And I will let Cherif introduce himself. Cherif, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Julian.
Amazing, Cherif. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where do you come from, and just basically how you got started in real estate?
Well, good. I was born in Egypt. My father is Egyptian, mother is French. I'm Egyptian Catholic, which is minority there. So I left. I was a
Uh-huh.
teenager. I studied hotel and finance, and I loved hotel business. As a matter of fact, I worked at the Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles, which is one of the nicest hotels, was 5 stars, 5 diamonds. And in that hotel, I was
Yeah.
working around the clock trying to learn and move up. And this back in the early 80s. And I met a billionaire in the name of Edmond Bessari. You can see my photo with him on LinkedIn in front of one of his castles in France. And anyway, so he asked me to work for him. He just stopped me in the lobby and he said, "Listen, Sharif, I've been watching you work around the clock. You start very early in the morning in the restaurant. You work all the way. I see you in the restaurant upstairs. I see you at the front desk. And nighttime, I see you with the night auditors. I've never seen somebody work so hard. Why don't you come and work for me?" I, I
Wow.
remember I just like was so scared. I was like so confused. Like, oh, doing what? I knew he was very wealthy because he had a special made Rolls Royce made by Pininfarina, the designer of the Italian factories of Ferrari. He
Yeah.
flew him to the British factories of Rolls Royce to design a special made Camargue, which is a special Rolls Royce for him, and shipped it to Los Angeles to be parked in the hotel. So whenever he comes, he can drive it. So, I mean, the guy was an exceptional
Wow.
guy. He's a Lebanese of origin and lived in France. So
Yeah.
we had a few things in common. It was very exciting. And I didn't know everything about him. I just knew he was a hotel guest and he was a wealthy guy because everybody was wealthy there in that hotel. So I
Mhm.
said, "I don't know anything about real estate, sir. I would love to work for you, but doing what?" He said, "I'll tell you what to say. I'll tell you what to do. I don't want to travel as often. You seem to have this amount of energy that's amazing. I have a hotel in Wisconsin. Believe it or not, it was based in Wisconsin, a hotel,
Yeah.
and he already had a place in New York and place in Los Angeles. So he said, I need you to be based there, and then you're going to be traveling to France. You're going to be traveling to different places like in the Caribbean to do real estate deals. I'll tell you what to say. I'll tell you what to do. You do it." And I had faith in God and in the moment and in myself and in him. And I said, "Okay, I'll go for it." And it changed my life. I worked for him for 8 years. I had to learn a lot of things. I actually had to learn first the terminology. What's an escrow? What's tax increment financing? What's tax credit? What's a
Mhm.
seller carry back? I mean, like terms that were so new to me because I was in the hotel business. I knew finance, but I didn't know real estate, high transaction in the millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you're at the right place at the right time, but there's no luck in making things work out because really, if you think about it, some people, the opportunity can hit them in the face and they don't recognize it. And some other people can create their own opportunities. I was one of those people who worked hard, so I was noticed, and I capitalized on the opportunities by getting him what he wants, getting him the results, and not worrying too much about how young I was because I was in my early 20s, and just deciding I'm going to get results. I'm going to just listen carefully, take notes, ask questions, and go get it done. And the rest is history. I continued in hotel business for a while with him and doing deals, and then I branched out on my own after really continuing even with the hotel business for a while. But it just made no sense to continue in hotels when I was making so much money in real estate on the side, and it
Um, um,
continued from there.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so I want to point something out. So you noticed, you said that you had hard work and people noticed you, but like,
Yeah.
why did you have the hard work? What was it inside of you that was driving you to do that? Because had you not been working hard at the hotel, he would have never noticed you. You would have
Right.
never gotten the opportunity. So it's kind of like, you know, this
That's a
it's
great
very
question.
like preparation meets opportunity, you know?
Yes. Well, I felt always like I don't know enough. So when I started in the hotel business, they put me as management trainee in housekeeping. So I felt like I want to know everything about housekeeping. How do they clean the rooms? How do we buy the chemicals? Why are we using these products? How are we? I mean, we had at the Century Plaza Hotel, it was a Westin hotel, and that hotel had President Reagan stay there. So it was called the Western White House. I mean, that was just
Oh,
very
wow.
dramatic.
Yeah.
So I was really fascinated about all the security levels we had to go through, the cleanliness, the organization. So I kept learning more, and then I said, "Well, I want to also learn what's going on in food and beverage. I want to
Mm.
learn also what's going on at the front desk and how do we do the numbers? What are the policies?" I remember I would go late at night to the executive committee floor and photocopy the policy books and then study it at home and just. And I didn't make enough money. I was management trainee. I was making very little money. I was going to UCLA also in after taking extension classes. And at night, I worked as a security guard from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So during my shift,
Wow.
I would sleep every other hour because I was so tired. But when I'm up, I would study the policy book of the hotels and here are the policies. So I knew the system of the hotels very well. And I just thought I can become a general manager because they told me if I work hard, I could become a general manager. And
Okay.
you know, a lot of people say, well, you got to work smart, not hard. But I believe you got to work hard first to know what 80% of the effort bring 20% of the result. You got to do a lot to know what makes sense, what what actually works. And not only do you do it for yourself, but you got to watch others. And he was in real estate. And I said, if he's so successful and so many hotel guests that are in the hotel that are so rich are in real estate, well, I gotta get into it. So
Yeah.
that's how it worked.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, cool. So you built an empire in commercial real estate. Okay, would you be willing to share with us how big your valuation is on your portfolio?
The assets now under my name are around 100 million. People can go to my website. I'm very open, I'm very transparent. The website CREPR, Commercial Real Estate Puerto Rico. I use the .com, CREPR.com. They will see the whole portfolio. I've been selling properties and I'm continuing to sell to liquidate some of that. I do a lot of transactions in Los Angeles as well, in San Francisco. I have my own real estate funds. I have a training company I started 25 years ago because I wanted to help others. I mean, Baysari, when
Hmm.
I left, he said to me, "Look, what I've done for you, and now you're launching on your own, becoming very wealthy. Go and help others. That's all I ask you to do." So he was very, very much a giver, but he was not an easy guy to deal with. He was very demanding. So I
Yeah.
set up a training company, and it's called Cherif Medawar Real Estate Investing. The initial CMREI.com. They will see my educational products, but more importantly, look at my portfolio. My portfolio has small hotels, office space, mixed use commercial, which is downstairs retail and upstairs Airbnbs and residential. And I bought in Puerto Rico because as a US citizen, the only place you can reduce taxes legally is to be resident of Puerto Rico. So I have to spend 6 months in Puerto Rico minimum and 6 months in the US. Well, Puerto Rico is part of the US, but it's US territory, so it has tax incentives. So I was able to reduce my taxes at one point. I was paying like 40 to 50% tax on properties I was flipping in San Francisco. So I
Yeah.
took residence in Puerto Rico, dropped my taxes to less than 16%. So from
Wow.
from 50% to 16% on every million, I was making an extra 350,000 and I was reinvesting it. So it's like
Yeah.
it cuts your financial life. Let's say you're gonna accomplish stuff in 15 years, you're gonna make, let's say, 50 million. All of a sudden you can do it in 5 years because the compounding effect and how you can work the money faster. So it was quite a few things that I had to put together to make that portfolio when people look at it. CREPR.com. and they can see from that website, if they scroll down, they can see my training sites, my other sites. I have like an asset protection program. That's why I'm not afraid to tell people, here are my buildings. What if somebody want to sue me? Okay, sue me. I dare you to get a penny. I have the best asset protection program. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Okay, that's great. So, Sharif, what's your core investing philosophy that drives everything you do?
Okay, so the investment philosophy is actually 6 things. This is very interesting. People don't ask actually for
Okay.
the philosophy, and I have a formula. I always work off of formulas because under pressure, I don't want to think like, okay, what do I do now? I already have the thought. So number one, I
Right.
look for safety. So what I mean by safety is if I buy this building, do I have a margin of safety? Is it worth, let's say, $1 million and I'm getting it at 900? Maybe it's
Hmm.
better if I get it at 850. So I have a margin of safety on the price. Also,
Hmm.
how quickly can I get it to perform and brings me income if that's what I want? If not, how quickly can I rehab it and sell it? So the safety is number one.
Hmm.
Number two, cash flow. I gotta have the cash flow. If there is no cash flow, there has to be a cash out. So I'm gonna fix it and sell it by a certain day.
Hmm.
Number three, if I have the actual safety and the cash flow, I want to have some liquidity. Can I borrow against it? Can I sell it? Can I sell it and carry financing? Can I do a wraparound mortgage? Can I do some creative financing with it? So there has to be some liquidity with the deal. Number
Hmm.
four, I have to have some reserves. I cannot use all the money I have. I have to always have some on the side because the market will turn bad. It's not like if it turns bad. A lot of people think like, what if it goes bad? It will go bad. It will go bad. I'm just telling you right now, anything you're gonna do, it's gonna go bad. So you have some cash reserves so you can double down, you can survive, you can turn it around. Okay, that's number four. Number
Hmm.
five, what if it doesn't pan out like plan A? Do I have a plan B and plan C? Now, it's funny, the other day I was watching Jeff Bezos when he was interviewed lately. He said, I don't like plan B and plan C. You have to go all in on plan A. Yeah, well, it worked for him. It worked for him. But if you watch, for example, the I mean, I was talking about President Reagan used to stay at the Century Plaza Hotel. When you talk to the security services for the president of the United States and you ask them, and we used to chat with them, hey, so the president is going to be downstairs in the banquet room and there is dinner, $3,000 a plate to donations to whatever, whatever. How do you guys handle the security? And you know what they say to me? They say he's going to be on the stage, he's going to speak. The exit is going to be right behind him. That's plan A. Plan B, if something happens, we need to take him from the side doors. Plan C, that's why we have this stage because we can drop him down and take him from the back. You see my point? They have a plan A, plan B, plan C.
Wow.
And that's how they can cover the president. That's how you survive. You
Yeah.
know, there was a statement by the CEO of Intel company. He said only the paranoid survive. So I always look for, okay, if I can't sell the building, can I split it? Can I split it,
Uh-huh.
sell the upstairs, keep the downstairs? So that's my plan B. How about plan C?
Uh-huh.
Can I just rent it then? Can I just change the use? Can I put advertisement on top? So I always have to come up with five, six plan A, B, C, D, E. And the more different plans of usage or exits or cash flow I have, the better the formula is. And number six is I always look for diversification. I don't want to be just all in one building. I don't want to sell my whole portfolio by one big hotel because
Right.
yeah, that hotel may be by the airport in LAX and it's a great location and there is traffic and LAX will always be there. But what if there is COVID? What if the airport shuts down? There is a terrorist attack. Do I have insurance and how much will it cover? So you want to be
Right.
a little bit diversified, maybe something different assets, different locations, diversified by asset type, by location, by style of investing, when you're going to flip, when you're going to keep. So if you look at these six, and I'll repeat them, number one is safety, number two is cash flow, number three is the liquidity, number four is the reserve, plan B and C and D, and diversification. The only thing you will be having left is sustainability. You will conquer the world with this formula, no matter what you do. So,
Okay.
wait.
Wow.
Thank you. Well, believe me, I did not make it because I was just trying to wing it, and I've
Yeah.
had plenty of situations that were so problematic, you would think like, okay, this is gonna be the end. This is it. I'm cooked. Geez, this is happening. But if you realize that life is a series of problem solutions, and the more problems you solve, the better you become. Like your skill level goes, first of all, your judgment improves, your skill level improves, and your luck increases. You see, there's a factor of luck here. So how do you create luck? You network more. And when you network more, you have more allies that can help you solve the problems. So the problems become your opportunities. So if you look at life as, I'm going to be struggling today, there will be problems. I'm going to call the guy, he's going to say, no, he doesn't want to do the deal. He's going to change his mind. But that's okay, because it's like a game. And you take life as a game, you will never be beat. Because the game is like, okay, we'll play one more round. We'll play one more round.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. There are obstacles, but that's the game. So anyway, I just want
That's awesome. You take it with a positive attitude, and that's what makes it all fun and worth it, right?
Otherwise, you're going to frustrate yourself. You have a big tenant doesn't want to pay you. Then you send them a letter, they sue you. So you have to say, oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get the paperwork ready.
Let's get to work.
What's going to happen with this, And then next thing you know, they want to settle. And then you play tough and you play hard. And you say, you want to play the game? Let's go for the game. I'm not settling. You said, okay, we'll settle. So anyway.
Okay, amazing. All right. So you kind of answered my next question, which was what are the top 3 things you look for when you're evaluating a commercial property. So if we could have, like, can you walk us through a deal where people saw nothing but you created massive value, like you saw?
Yes. Okay, so I'll give you this deal. This was early on in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. So I went there because I heard that as a U.S. territory, if you take residence there, you can reduce your taxes. So I went there, and I went to Old San Juan because I did a study on the island. I found out that Old San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is 15 minutes from the airport, it's right where the cruise ships arrive. It's the 3rd largest port in the United States. It's the oldest historic zone under U.S. flag. Any U.S. citizen, resident of the U.S., can take residence there. I mean, you fly in, there is no passport needed or anything. It's fully bilingual. Everybody speaks English very well. I mean, actually, they speak English there more than in Miami, okay? In Miami, Julian. So I went there in Old San Juan looking for how I can buy one building to use it as my base to reduce my taxes based on what I had studied. Then when I went there looking for a building to own it and reduce my taxes, I found out a bigger opportunity, which is when I was standing looking at the buildings, I found out the cruise ships, when they dock, all the passengers that walk on a certain traffic pattern. Tanca Street, they turn left on Fortaleza Street, they turn right on Cristo Street to go to the fort. So I said, wait a minute, all these people walking, they're looking at a map. So I asked somebody, well, what is this map? And he shows me a map. He said, this is the cruise ship gave us this kind of the map of the area and what stores they recommend. Why these stores advertise with the cruises, Carnival Cruise, et cetera. They actually advertise on the cruises. So the cruise do a map for each port, and Old San Juan is a big port.
Yeah.
And it says, this jeweler, come to them, they'll give you free earrings. This company, they will give you a free tote bag. This company will give you a promotion of this and that. So they control the traffic where the cruise ships come from the pier, which is several piers, and then people walk up, right, left, and then right. 3 streets that are amazingly full of traffic. And yet, when I looked at the tenants there, some buildings were dusty and closed. Some buildings, the tenants there were mom and pop operations that were not selling much and wanted to leave. I started talking to the tenants, and I would say, how come it's so dusty here? One lady told me, so the cruise people, they think that the place is cheap, but I sell the items higher. I'm like, that's your strategy for marketing? Is you have a dusty store, and when people come in, they're gonna think that it's lower price. Like, what? The other one was a guy that makes clothes. And I asked him, Yeah. I said, do you get people from the cruises making clothes here? He said, no, but I have a very inexpensive lease, but I want to retire. I have 2 more years on the lease and the guy doesn't want me out, the owner. I'm like, this is insane. You can put the biggest tenants in the world. You can put an ice cream shop out of nothing. Make ice cream, you'll make $1 million because of the traffic.
Yeah.
1.7 million people walk by these places. And people in cruises, when they come off the cruise, they have a credit card at hand. They want to buy a t-shirt for the grandson. They want to buy a shirt for themselves. They become shopaholics.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity I saw, and it just changed my life. And can I elaborate some more on this?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
So I realized that what I was doing in the United States, I can do there with a multiplier. Okay?
Uh-huh.
And here's how it works. I put a building under contract. I put a property under contract, okay, for the commercial traffic. So say it's a single tenant building, standalone building. It has a lot of traffic in front of it. It's sitting vacant. So I put it under contract. Now, despite all this, the area there is very expensive. Like a small building is like 1.5 million, 2 million, because it's an island and it's a great location on the island, and it comes with a lot of tax benefits. Like you don't pay property taxes. The area is all bricks, concrete, so even a hurricane doesn't affect it. It's constant traffic, so if you have a store there, you don't have to advertise because new people come every day, every day, every day. You can put the same shirt on the display, and it's the same, different people, same shirt, but different people coming. It's not like a mall where you have to change. So I put properties under contract, started smiling and dialing and calling the big tenants. So I'll give you a strategy that made me millions of dollars, and I put originally $5,000. Okay, so and the address is 211 Cristo Street. So this property downstairs it said vacant, and you could see Reebok was the tenant because you can see the sign was removed. You can see Reebok there from the dust and all this, the old name Reebok, the shoe company.
Yeah.
And apparently they were like on the first, second floor, and there was a third floor in the back. You couldn't see it very well. So, and it said for lease. So I called, and the guy answered, and I said, look, how much is it to buy this building? And he said 3.6 million. I said, oh my God, 3.6 million right here. He said, yes, this is Old San Juan. If you want to buy, you buy.
Yeah.
And I said, well, who was here? And he said, Reebok. I said, yeah, first and second floor. He said, yes, and we have a beautiful penthouse on top. It's amazing. It's 3 floors. You can see the bay area where the big cruise ships come. It's just gorgeous. But the owner, he said, I'm speaking on behalf of the owner, would like to lease it. But if you want to buy it, 3.6 million. Yeah. So I said, okay, let me send you an offer, but I want it for like 3 million. The guy screamed. He said, don't waste your time. Call the owner directly. I called the owner. We made an agreement, 3.5 million. Just all within 10 minutes. 3.5, I'll send you an offer. Where can I email it, etc. So I sat down and I started smiling and dialing, literally calling big tenants. I called Adidas, I called Puma, I called Burberry. Kept calling. I have in my education company, I made a list of big tenants. And I would just say, so I can tell you, so your listeners can kind of get a training here. Hi, my name is Cherif Medawar. I'm calling you regarding a property I have, 211 Cristo Street in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. This is where the cruise ships arrive. There is traffic of 1.7 million people coming in, and there is also a lot of local people that come here every weekend. The area is sold out. This is free advertisement for you. Would love for you to take this place. It used to be occupied by Reebok. Next door, there are great tenants. A lot of tourism here going on. 2,000 square feet on floor 1, and second floor you can use for storage and office. Another 2,000 square feet. This is 4,000 square feet. This could be all yours. Let me know. My name is Cherif Medawar. Here's my phone number, etc. I'll send you pictures, send you a video, etc. Boom. Then I called the next one. Hi, my name is Cherif Medawar. I'm calling you regarding 211 Cristo. Same page, like I wrote it down and I just literally read it a couple times, then it's natural. And I call and I hang up. I leave on my email, leave on my phone number, etc. This is back. This is back in 2006, the strategy.
Yeah.
2000. Yeah, I was there 2004. So somewhere there, 2004, 2005. I can't remember exactly the time. And then I was there. I took a couple days cruise. We went to like from San Juan to Martinique and some other places. Came back. I opened the drawer in my cruise, And my phone, you don't get good connections with the cruise. And I pick it up. There are
Yeah.
3 voicemail messages. One of them was from Puma Corporation. And Puma left
Oh,
me a
that's good.
message saying, this is so-and-so from Puma Corporation in New York. We have a store in Plaza Las Americas, which is a big mall in San Juan. And we're very interested in having a second location in Old San Juan. We got your voicemail message. We're very interested. Please call me back as soon as possible. I would like to know how much, because we're selling $8 million a year in the mall, and we need to move merchandise to another location to sell it and put new merchandise in the mall. And having the cruise ship traffic will be great for us. Do not waste time. Call us. We need to know before Christmas. I'm like, oh my God. Boom. I called the guy. He said, how much do you want? And I said, $20,000 a month. And I stopped breathing. And he said, okay, this is for both floors. I said, yes. He said, what else do you need? I said, I need at least a 10-year lease. So listen to this.
Yeah,
$20,000
yeah.
a month is $240,000 a year. 10-year
Yeah.
lease, triple net. Triple net, that means the tenant pays the tax, insurance, and maintenance. You with me? But the property is tax exempt. There is no tax because it's Old San Juan. So the tenant loves it. It's because they're saving for the tenant. And then I said to them, but I also need a corporate guarantee. So for these national tenants, they give you a corporate guarantee. That means the lease is guaranteed by the corporation. This corporation is worth $800 million. The corporate guarantee is beautiful.
Yeah.
So the guy said, okay, send me the LOI, the letter of intent. You send me what you want. Let me review it, and then I will sign and get you going. How quickly can we move forward? I said, how quickly? As soon as possible. I have it under contract. So I'll close and we do it. I remember I was in the taxi going to the airport in San Juan to fly to Los Angeles. By the time I landed in LA the next day, he called me, said, we want to move as quickly as possible. We'll sign on this. And, what do you want? What else do you want in the letter of intent? I said, we need 3% increase every year. He said, no problem. So I called the seller of the building. I said, let me wire the $5,000 to open escrow right away, because I didn't even have escrow open. I wired the $5,000, called the bank and said, I need to make this deal happen. Here is a letter of intent from Puma with a corporate guarantee for 10 years, paying $20,000 a month. The bank got the appraisal done in 4 days. I called the seller. I said, I have good news and bad news. I will close very quickly. That's the good news. Bad news is I want you to pay for the closing cost, because they were small closing costs. Because the bank gave me literally the entire $3.5 million, because what happens is there is, if you're getting $240,000 a year, the value of the building becomes $4 million. It's a 6% cap. That means for every $60,000 in income with a corporate guarantee from these national tenants, it's worth $1 million. Now I'm getting not 60,000, but 240,000. It's 4 times 60. So building was $4 million. So they gave me the full $3.5 million because I assigned the lease to the bank. It was called Western Bank. That bank was taken over by Banco Popular over there. But the key thing is, he even paid the closing and I got back my $5K. So I got the deal, no money down. I still have the whole penthouse, beautiful 3-floor penthouse. The guy was saying, this is a stupendous penthouse, like beautiful penthouse. And Puma came in. They got 3 months free rent, but we started, it was practically not. I had with the deposit and the first month rent, I paid the bank. And then I separated the deed from the third, fourth, and fifth floor upstairs from the first and second, separated the deed, the ownership, and sold it upstairs for $2 million. And the bank told me, don't reduce the debt, cash out the $2 million because we have a corporate guarantee. So I bought the building, got into the deal right away. 6 months later, I had split the building and sold the upstairs for $2 million and went and bought other buildings. That's how I started, and I ended up with 30 buildings. You can see it on the website. I'm the largest owner in the history of Old San Juan, of 500 years of existence.
Wow.
Yeah, I just got to buy another one, and I got Sunglass Hut, bought another one, and got Burberry, bought another one, got Tommy Hilfiger. And literally right now, if you go on that website, CREPR, you're going to see a video. I explain. I always share with people. There's a big pie out there in the world. And I say, cruise ships arrive, people walk in front of Tanca, Fortaleza, and Cristo. That's where I have all my buildings. The buildings I don't own are owner operators, like jewelers that have been there 3 generations. They're not going to sell to me if I offer them $1 million more.
Yeah.
And my message to people is, if you understand how to make money and you focus on an area and understand the values, not the prices, but the values, you will understand and immediately go from being scared to do real estate to being excited about the opportunities that will pop up. And that's how you create opportunity. This was a building that was shut down. It said available. It was not even for sale. But when I called the guy, I knew how to make a deal happen. And I figured if it doesn't happen, I will at least make an offer and show my taxes. I went to the Caribbean, made an offer. So I want tax deductible on the trip. It was for business reasons. Like, what's my plan B? I'll get a tax deduction for the trip. But it worked, and it changed my life. Now, the question is, why am I selling now a lot of buildings in Puerto Rico? Because everything in life has its course. And now I'm older. I want to do more business in California and less in Puerto Rico. And my kids are young and they're very immersed in California. They're going to college soon. So life changes and you go with the river of life, like I call it. Just as life takes you, just go with it. Sorry, I talk so much, but I get very excited.
No, that was amazing. That was an incredible masterclass right there. Wow. I can't believe you condoed out that property and basically sold it, for...
Yes. And you know what, Julian? Speaking of masterclass, fast forward many years later, like this, I started that in 2004. By 2006, I had increased my net worth to $50 million. I remember I would look myself in the mirror and say, I look the same, but I don't feel the same. I just had more money. And I would put these big tenants in the buildings. I would refinance and cash out the money. And the buildings were cash flowing still. So it was like, so I take the same money, reinvested. All this, of course, it's been 20 years now. We're 2025 now. So 21 years from the time I went to Puerto Rico to do this. So it just increased in value so much. So the point is, I decided in my education company to train people and tell them, let's do this together in the United States. Because I also set up my own real estate fund in 2009. So I've been, for 15 years doing that. Real estate funds, like people give me money and I invested in high luxury homes in San Francisco. But I train people. I tell them, I want you to look anywhere in the United States, wherever you are, look for a busy traffic street and there is one single tenant building available for sale.
Yeah.
I tell people how to identify the right building, the ideal building. Number 2, what to tell the broker to put it under contract.
Yeah.
I give them a national tenant list. There's 4,500 national tenants in the United States that constantly grow. Subway, Ben & Jerry's, and like food companies, clothing companies, jewelry companies. I have the list, who to contact, what size space they want, what areas they want to grow in. I train people to identify the right building in the right location, what to tell the broker. I give them proof of funds. My money, like there are millions always sitting. There is like right now is CD 3.3 million to show proof that they're serious. I say, you cannot speak that you represent me and my real estate fund. And then they make the offer. They put it under contract. They have the list of tenants. I tell them what to tell the tenants, how to prepare a package. And when one tenant calls and says, yeah, I'm interested in this Kansas City property downtown, single tenant building with a drive-through, and we're Jack in the Box, would like to talk to you more. They forward that actual email, because there is an email that we send, and I get on the call with the students, and we do what's called a letter of intent call. I negotiate everything, close the deal. A property that you get under contract at, let's say, $700,000 vacant. You get Jack in the Box or one of the big companies that say we're going to lease for 10 to 15 years. The property, let's say they're going to pay $100,000 a year, $8,300 a month. That $100,000 becomes worth $1.667 million. It jumps almost double because it's whatever the base rent times 16. Yeah. So on that increase, let's say it jumps to 700,000 more only. I pay the student that is in my joint venture program, I pay them 10%, so $70,000 assignment fee. I've done the training. I give them the proof of fund. I give them the tenant list. I tell them what to do, what to say, and I negotiate the lease, and I pay them at the closing. I have actually, people can look on YouTube. I have over 1,000 video success stories. Can you
Wow.
imagine? No, it made me millions. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So if they sign, if I get the tenant to sign 15 years, because now with the inflation and tariffs, there are just new stuff coming up that people say, I want to sign for 15 years. I want to lock in the price so you don't keep increasing the rent and stuff. 15 years signature, we can flip these properties for a lot of money. So I pay the student 25% of the upside. So if we lock the building, let's say at 700, and we're going to sell it at just 1.1 million because the tenant is coming in, that's 400,000 upside. I give them, instead of 40,000, the 10% on the upside difference, I give them 100,000, which is 25% of the upside. So that's called the joint venture program. I get people in the program, I train them, and I'm the one training them. There is no, it's not like I'm a boutique company for training. I just like select a few people, train them. We even have it very specific by market. Like in Atlanta, we have 3 people. In Los Angeles, we have 8 people because of big market, San Francisco. And once they do the first deal, the second deal they do on their own, they're up and running because they have the money now from the assignment fee, they have the training, and I still help them. That's how we get a lot
Yeah.
of success stories. But it has helped me grow like crazy, and it's been amazing.
Wow. And that's amazing. How can people get started with that? You know?
Okay, so best thing is they can contact the office. They can go to CMREI.com. It's Cherif Medawar Real Estate Investing. So
Mhm.
CMREI is the website where I explain the different programs. And this one is called the joint venture program for the single tenant retail. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. If they make 4 times what they pay the first time, we charge $10,000. Sometimes we have some specials here and there, but they get trained. Assignment fee are from 40,000, God knows to how much.
Mhm.
By the way, it's not, doesn't mean that every property they're going to put under contract, they're going to find a tenant right away. Let's create a problem. Let's say somebody puts a property under contract and they
Yeah.
start smiling and dialing on the tenant list and use the system I tell them. We have it usually under contract for 45 days due diligence and 15 days to close. And I close all cash.
Mhm.
And they are actually putting it under their name and or my company's name, MakeSafe LLC.
Yeah.
If they actually do not find any tenant interested, they don't have to purchase it. They just cancel the contract. If they put 5,000, we only put 5,000 earnest money deposit, they get it refunded. There is no downside. There is
Yeah.
either a huge upside or no deal. And I have the proof of fund that I give them that gives them credibility to speak on my behalf.
Yeah. 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 I understand. Okay.
So yeah. Mhm.
So oh wow, that's amazing. Um incredible, incredible, incredible. And because I know a lot of people, they're wholesaling, they're fixing and flipping, they're doing active income activities, like
Yes,
these
yes.
people, they're hard workers, they're hustlers, but sometimes they don't have the commercial aptitude, to do deals like this. And learning a deal that can make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at the very minimum, and as a $40,000 assignment fee. I mean, that's not a bad thing. So it's a really good thing that that's available out for them.
Yeah, and
Especially.
we have success stories like this guy did. He has a 91,000 fee. He made a 91,000. We assigned to McDonald's. He made 91,000. His success stories on YouTube. Mark, his name is Mark. We have another one. This gentleman is doing a deal now with Chipotle, and actually we end up doing the deal, but the actual people involved wanted not, like, we couldn't assign the deal to me because they wanted to buy the building. So he's going to make an assignment fee to the people buying the building from him when he has it under contract. So he's going to make over 100,000. So it's just an amazing way to make money and start in commercial real estate, because the first deal will change your life because of the knowledge. I do the training personally. People come in, we do a training every 6 weeks where it's on Zoom, or they can fly to Puerto Rico to meet me. Sometimes people want to do the training in Los Angeles, so I bring them to my second home in LA, and we just do the training there. And I've had even people finish the training that I do with them, and they take the principles of how I do this business structure that made me millions and made so many of my students a lot of money, and they use it in like their storage facility deals, their Other deals, like this lady finished the training and went and bought an RV facility, and she said, I use the exact same process that you do. By the way, we do a lot of commercial trainings. I do 12 different commercial real estate trainings, but this is the one that made me the most money with the least amount of effort, and is what I suggest for anybody. I mean, you put one tenant like Jack in the Box in a building, you have nothing to manage. You are free. You have the tax, insurance, maintenance paid by the tenant, and you have a bank that's anxious to give you the loan because of the corporate guarantee of these big tenants. So it's just the best of the best, really.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing. I love it. I did see you have a lot of experience in other kind of, asset types as well. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, that's incredible. So when you're looking at deals, that, for example, don't work at first glance, what levers do you pull? Like, what's your negotiating strategy? How do you get to do those deals that, don't initially?
Well, the negotiation strategies that I use is really based on the property itself. If the property is what I want, believe it or not, I would love to sit and tell you, oh, I can like persuade somebody who doesn't want to sell. First of all, I want to make sure they want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, I will make them want to sell by overpaying them. For example, on the same website, CREPR, when I called Puma for 211 Cristo property, and I kept calling them and calling them and calling them and calling calling different tenants.
Yeah.
Puma is the one that called me back. All you need is one tenant.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 months later, Sunglass Hut company called me back 6 months later, left me a voicemail message, and they said, you called us 6 months ago for location in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. We were busy at the time expanding in Asia. We're ready now. Please call us back. So I called the lady, Denise, who is this company? The company is called Luxottica. I said, who is this Luxottica? She said, we are one of our divisions, Lens Crafters. Another one is Sunglass Hut. Do you still have the location of 211 Cristo available? I said, ma'am, that was 6 months ago. It leased already for $20,000 a month. And they gave me corporate guarantee for $800 million. She said to me, oh my God, that's great. We can do that very easily. We want to be in those locations. Do you have something near Puma corporations? Our corporate guarantee is over $1 billion. We're publicly traded. She said to me, 500 million people around the world wear our glasses.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything around the area. I didn't. But I told her, how quickly do you need to know? She said, can you let me know by Wednesday? This was Monday morning. And I was in Los Angeles. She's in New York. It was 9 a.m. my time. I said, I'll let you know ASAP. I immediately took a flight to San Juan, went in and walked up and down Cristo Street. And then I went to Sunglass Hut. Building was originally a painter building. So I walked in and I talked to the painter and I asked him if he want to sell. He talked to his wife. The wife said 1.8 million. It was only 2 floors. The other one, I paid 3.5 because it was a huge building. So she said 1.8. I said, okay, how quickly can we move? And this. And she said, come tomorrow, my attorney will be here and we'll draft this, give us your name and all this. Next day when I came in, she wanted $1,950,000. She went up 150,000. And I'm like, why? And that's because I did not flinch. When she said 1.8, I said, okay, let's close right away. Because I knew Sunglass Hut is coming to pay me $20,000 a month. And I knew the building's going to be worth so much more. So when the next day she said, you give me $1,950,000 or I'm not going to sell, I thought to myself, how much will it appraise for? And she said, we just appraised it. It appraised less than $1.8 million. So I just want you to know, if you want it, it's $1,950,000 because I got to pack and leave, and we've been painters in that building forever. We sell our art and all this. So I overpaid her.
Wow.
So what's my message here? My message is, it's not the price, it's the value, because I got it at $1,950,000 and I put Sunglass Hut, and till today, you're going to see on my website, Sunglass Hut is still there, and that deal was done in 2006. So I put a tenant there once, and they've been with me, how many years now? 2006 to 16.
It's like 20 years, almost.
Years already. Yeah, exactly, 19 years. So what happened is, it's worth a lot more. And the valuation of the negotiation or the tactics and all this is based on what value do you bring. In residential real estate, I gotta buy below market and sell at market or slightly below. But in commercial, I can buy at full market price through a broker and add value. In residential, you want to find a good deal. In commercial, you want to learn how to make it a good deal, how to create the opportunity, not find it. And that's how you can live a life that nobody could dream of, because everybody's trying to look in the same areas on top of each other. Wholesaling residential is too much of the same bloody ocean. You know, I have a book called Blue Ocean Opportunities in Commercial Real Estate. You can see it on Amazon. I sell it for like $3. You know, I just give it away, literally.
Yeah. No, that's great. Okay, so it sounds like the key is the tenant selection and all that. And I want to talk about, if you're comfortable sharing, of course,
absolutely.
How do you get the tenants? Like, how do you have a list of tenants that you could just call? And because it seems like that's where the value is made.
You're so right. The value is putting the pieces together. It's like you know what the end picture should be. And the end picture is a great tenant in a great location signing for a long-term lease. You will make, I'm telling you, one deal will change your life, because it's income doesn't stop. And they don't hassle you. They give you a corporate guarantee, all right? So the pieces have to be done right. First, the right building in the right location, the traffic, the neighboring tenants. Number two, the tenant list is compiled based on those big companies that are either franchisors or that are corporate managed properties, like Chipotle, Jack in the Box, what they call QSR, quick service restaurants. They're the fastest growing. I mean, they did well even during COVID. They expanded during COVID. I mean, like these guys, Subway expanded. You can look at the numbers. All these guys have more net profit during COVID because they cut staff. They were doing deliveries with Uber Eats and stuff. It transformed the industry. So these tenants, we get the list, we compile the list, we update the list. They constantly change their key people in the leasing departments, etc. But we want to contact them and tell them, this is what I have. Do you want to expand? Their business is based on expansion. That's their business model, is to get locations, and either they run it or they have their franchisees. Now, we like to do it with the corporate tenants because their corporate guarantee is the strongest.
Yeah.
But companies like Subway sometimes puts a franchisee and they give the corporate guarantee on top of the franchisee. So if the franchisee doesn't work for them, they kick him out or kick her out and put another one. But I signed with a company that has 33,000 location, publicly traded corporate guarantee. That means if they don't make it here, they still pay me. If they cancel, they have to buy the lease out. I make $1 million, $500,000 for them to leave. So then the next thing is, how do you structure the lease in a way that is a win-win? Now, this is very important because, like, for example, we were just doing a deal recently, and the tenant asked for $250,000 tenant improvement. They said, we're going to sign and give you what you want. We're going to sign for 15 years. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. But you need to kick in $250,000 because we need to change the floor, install a whole kitchen, and expand the drive-through to 2 lanes. So now I have to look at the numbers. If I'm buying the building for $750 and I give them $250, that's $1 million. But they're going to sign for 15 years. They're going to pay $100,000. And as I told you, 100,000 go times 16, it's worth 1.6 million. Okay, I'm gonna give you the 250. And you know how I gave him the 250? When we closed on the building, I went to the bank and I said, I have this tenant coming in. It's a coffee company. I don't want to say the name because we're just finishing the deal now. Can you give me 250,000 credit line to rehab the building that I just bought? So this tenant with a corporate guarantee comes in, and guess what the bank says? Done. Just tell them, as they do remodeling, they send us the invoices, we send somebody to inspect, and we release 50K, we release another 25 based on where their invoice. So literally, I put 20% down on the deal, like $200,000, and I got a deal that's gonna be worth $1,667,000 when I'm done. I can sell it, I can refinance, cash out the whole million.
Yeah.
Cash out my 200,000. You will end up with no money in the deal, positive cash flow. I call this endless streams of income. That's economic immortality. You have no money in the deal and you have corporate guarantees.
I love this. This is amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, so the first deal you did in San Juan, the bank paid all of the purchase price because,
Yeah.
from what I understand, the appraised value with the lease in place was higher than the purchase price that
Yeah.
was higher than what they were willing to lend, probably 80%, right?
Yes.
Then so you got a full amount for the purchase price. Now, um, on these other deals that these other real estate deals that you do, you put $200,000 down,
Yes.
and then they'll lend you 80% of what it will be worth, because you have the LOI signed with the tenant. Is that right?
Very good point. So in today's market, after COVID time now, that is 2025, 2026, etc., even if I do that same deal, the bank is going to say, to give you the loan, I need you to put 20% down. But here
Okay.
is the beauty.
Yeah.
I am putting 20% down. We're closing the deal and the tenant comes in. And then I go back to the bank that you got to go to the same bank so you don't pay a prepayment penalty. And he say,
Yeah.
I'm going to assign the lease to you. I would like to refinance and cash out my $200,000 that I put down payment or my $300,000 down payment. The bank doesn't care at this time because I assigned the lease to them. And the property has increased in value based on appraisal because there is a
Yeah.
corporate guarantee with income and all this, and we assign the income to them. What does that mean? That means, I mean, if I open my bank account now, you're gonna see that I have Guess company, the jeans company. So they
Yeah.
wire the payment from their offices. Guess is from Los Angeles, so they wire the payment to my bank account. But the payment comes into the name of, let's say, Banesco Bank and Cherif Medawar. So it comes in the deposit of Banesco Bank, division of not Miami, but Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And then Banesco takes their payment. The rest sits in my bank account. Now, let's say the money arrives and I take it out. So there is no money, like I can't take it. The next payment, then I'm going to deposit in my bank account. They're deposited in Banesco Bank. It's not coming to me. So now I have assigned the lease to them. They will foreclose on me and take over the property with the income before I can even do anything. So I reduce the risk of the bank. So you can do these deals, and I train people how to do them even if somebody doesn't have much credit. Even if
Yeah.
somebody's bankrupt, they can do a deal like this. Why? Because the corporate guarantee is the tenant, and you don't buy the building until and unless you lined up the tenant for that location. And it's not so hard to do it. It's just a few steps and credibility to get the broker to accept your offer. That's why I give my students that partner with me, here is the proof of funds. Use my letter saying, here is the money sitting. We're serious. We're going to buy cash. Otherwise, the listing broker is going to say, look, listen, man, I don't have time for you. You have to show me you can buy this property all cash.
Yeah.
Or you're lining up a loan and you have enough for the down payment. So, but after you do the first deal, I have helped people, like one of the programs we do is we help people set up a real estate fund. Let's say, Julian, you tell me, Cherif, I know so many strategies, but I wish I had $1 million on the side so I can do this and that. I say, okay, Julian, we're going to set you up to do a private fund. This is real estate fund. We do the private placement memorandum. I do the whole thing turnkey for people. I train them. I have in-house attorneys now in my offices. We draft the paperwork for you to raise money, you as an individual. We file it with the SEC for you. We give you a website, and then you come out and you tell people, hi, my name is Julian Castle, and I'm raising capital. I have these type of projects that we do, and when you give me money, I'll give you so much, I'll give you this and that, and you can offer what's called a debt fund. I mean, I do it all with training and turnkey and all this. It's supposed to be $35,000. We have a promo doing it at $25,000. All the paperwork with the attorney, filed with the SEC, and a full day training with me of training people how to raise money one-on-one and in groups. And I've had my funds for over 15 years. So, I mean, I've had people raise money, $5 million in the first 3 weeks. You know, this is like, you should see what's going on right now with real estate funds. This is the time, by the way, with the tariffs and all what's going on and all this is amazing time to be able to group investors together and get them to put money with you, and you deploy the capital and give them a return. So I train people really how to wholesale real estate, then how to set up their own fund to make it, how to have asset protection, and how to reduce taxes. Really, the entire gamut. But I don't do a lot of live events because I'm personally busy with my own stuff going on, and I am in a liquidation phase where I want to cash out as much cash to do bigger deals. Like I want to flip shopping malls, hotels, you know what I mean? And
That's
create a
amazing.
bigger game. Yeah.
Okay, Sharif, I want to talk about a very, very sticking topic right now, okay?
Okay.
So, this topic is currently the stock market is plunging.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the market. Tell us what you see happening in this real estate market in the coming months as this continues to unfold. Is it going to be better for us? Is it going to be, worse? Like what's going to happen? I want to get your point on it.
Okay, thank you. So the stock market is legalized gambling. Okay, yes, you can make money in the long run, but I mean, why would anybody think they're gonna make money in the stock market? Just put your money either in the S&P 500 or in Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is like a mutual fund. This is Warren Buffett stock. The
Yeah.
problem with Berkshire Hathaway, it does not pay any dividend. He never paid a payment in cash flow to any investor. But what it does is it compounds on itself because you put the money there, you preserve your wealth. So maybe that's
Yeah.
not your game. And even when it goes down, you just buy some more. You do dollar cost averaging. You buy, you buy, you buy. So
Yeah.
who thinks they can beat Warren Buffett or the group of the best companies in the world, which are 500 Standard and Poor companies, best companies in the world? Okay. So that's stock market. So it goes down, goes up. It's not something that's going to make you so rich. But let's talk about real estate. I think what's happening is going to push some more money into real estate. Now, real estate is based on you're going to fix it and cash out, or you're going to buy it
Yeah.
and cash flow. Which is better? Better is the cash flow, but you can get to the cash flow properties until you flip a few first. You see, you first get a property, assign it, make some money, like do wholesaling, makes it like that's why I train people to do that. Because after
Yeah.
they make a first deal, assignment, second deal, now they have some cash and they have a system. Then they
Yeah.
can buy properties, put the tenants and their cash flow, and then do it again, etc. But if you're focused now on just the strategy I just shared, which is finding a vacant building, lining up national tenants that want to grow, people will continue to eat, whether it's depression, recession, great market, or sideways market, or global pandemic. They gotta eat. So you have places like Chipotle and Jack in the Box and McDonald's and Starbucks. They're gonna constantly make money. And
Yeah.
what you need is to give them that building that they need because people need to drive somewhere to get that coffee. It's just going to continue. It's just always going to be there. So why not focus now that the market is down and interest rates are going to come down on getting the best possible building with traffic and then get it under contract and line up a tenant. Because if you find a tenant, buy it. If you don't find a tenant, walk away. You have no downside. So
Yeah.
whatever happens in the market, I got my corporate guarantees. So my tenants are paying. I am next to an area that has cruise ship traffic. Cruise ship is on fire right now. It's amazing. And when the cruise ship business stopped during the global pandemic, I called, like, one of my tenants is Diamond International, which is the biggest diamond dealer in the Caribbean. These guys pay a lot of money to be in one of my buildings. And I called them and I said, hey, listen, I couldn't reach you for 5 weeks because of the global pandemic, but now that you're picking up the phone, do you want to leave? I wanted them to leave because I can get more, they're paying me a lot of rent, but I can get that building leased to Tiffany's, which is the jewelry of Tiffany, for more money. But they said, no, we're not leaving. We're sending you the payment right now. They don't want to leave because they have to pay up the lease. They will pay me like $750 to $1 million.
Uh-huh.
If you structure things for the downside, which I'm telling you, your life will have problems. Your investments will have a downside. But if you don't structure right, if you're not built to handle problems, then go get a job, stay in the job, and if they're gonna mess with you, try to go to the labor department, like live in the margin of life, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, there is nothing wrong with having a job. I want to qualify that. I stayed in the hotel business. Even when I started making money, I stayed in the hotel business for a long time. I managed many hotels and Embassy Suites hotels for Hilton for many years. I managed the Embassy Suites Santa Clara, California. I was in Napa Valley. I was in South City, San Francisco. But I was doing real estate on the side, making so much money that now I own hotels. There's a
Hmm.
big difference there. I
Yeah.
remember I was in Anaheim, Hampton Inn on behalf of Hilton, and the owner came in to complain about something. And I said, listen, would you like to sell the hotel? He said, do you have a buyer? Did somebody come to tell you? I said, no, I will buy it from you. That was the end because he called the corporate office and he said, you have a general manager here who can buy me out. This is crazy. So
Wow. How was that conversation? What?
it did
Well,
not go too well. He felt insulted. I was trying to solve the problem, and I said, "This property is cash flowing. This guy's coming to cry to me." But anyway, but
yeah.
you know, I know. But the point is, right now, is where the market is going is going to be a little tough. But a lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand tariffs are a very good strategy to reduce the debt of the United States. Number one. Number two, let's say there's a company in Mexico or a company in Canada that feels like, hey, we're not going to be paying these tariffs. Uh, People don't understand. That company CEO can pick up the phone and call the White House and Trump and say, I want to make a deal for my products. We ship this and that to the United States. Can you give us a break? We're going to work with you. And Trump said, I'll work with individual companies. Enough big CEOs with brains will call the White House and make the deals. The politics of Canada and Mexico and other countries will say, you know what? Let's now negotiate with Trump. I mean, Mexico's entire GDP is 1.8 trillion. Our GDP is over 30 trillion. And there is no comparison. There's no comparison. I mean, they will get dwarfed. I love Mexico, by the way. We lived in Cancun for a long time. My kids are fluent in Spanish. My late wife was Mexican. Unfortunately, she passed away. You know, we lived in Cancun many years. She
Yeah.
she died of aneurysm a few years ago. I mean, suddenly, boom, one day she's fine. Next day she's in the hospital. Third day dead. Unbelievable.
Wow.
But
That's
I'm a man of faith, and I said, okay, all is well. And if it wasn't for my real estate, I wouldn't have been able to focus on my kids. They were young teenagers and help them grow. So life gives you problems, and if you don't know how to handle yourself first, you will collapse. Oh my God, stock market is down. I see people not buying. I don't see activities right now in residential. What's going on? It's okay. Stay focused. Understand how to play the game. The rules are changing a bit, but take it to advantage. Interest is going to come down. Refinance, you know?
yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, cool. So you're yeah, you're very bullish or positive on this market. You know, things can change for the better. So
Yeah,
uh,
I'm bullish on the United States. I believe in
mhm,
what Warren Buffett said. Warren Buffett said, don't bet against the United States. But I'm also of the mind that you should have a strategy that works short term. Don't just have a long term vision. You got to have something that works short term. If I get the building now, I want to make sure the tenant is coming in, the value will increase now because if it works on year one, it's going to work for year 10. It
okay,
gets easier once it
okay,
works in the beginning.
amazing. And let's talk a little bit about this last section, which is what makes your best students successful, or just in general, what makes someone successful. You know, what do you you know
Okay.
what what are the things, the qualities, the
Oh wow, that is one of the best questions I've ever been asked, Julian. What makes the best student successful? When that student realizes I need help, I'm gonna get the help, I'm gonna commit to what I need to do, and I'm not gonna give up. But that person has to also understand there are ways to learn and ways to apply. For instance, to learn, one must make certain they don't go past a word they don't understand. So if I say escrow, or if I say seller carry back, they should not let me continue without understanding what is that? Can you define this? Because the brain blocks, stops thinking when they don't understand a word. And I mean, English is my third language.
mm,
I speak
wow,
French, I speak Arabic, I speak English, and I speak Spanish. Okay, well, my Spanish is not the best, but I can maneuver. I can make a deal in Spanish. Okay, I can give
yeah,
directions, I can order in Spanish, I can travel the world and speak Spanish. But it's not as fluent as my English, French, or Arabic. But my point is, I don't go past the word. Like if we're in a meeting and they're saying something in Spanish and I don't understand, I say, excuse me, can you define this? What does it mean? What do you mean by this word? So number one, the individual has to learn. So I have to first define all the words. They have to understand the concept. What is this? Why is this? What's the business model, the steps I have to take, and what action I need to take to succeed? And the problem is a lot of people think, I want to do a big deal, so my life changes right away. No, success is incremental. Do a small deal, assign it. Second deal, maybe assign it or see if you can get the loan for yourself. Third deal, maybe get a partner. Fourth deal, do it for yourself. Fifth deal, now start growing. You don't scale until you have the steps are, first you have to have the strategy. Then you have to have a structure to house that strategy. So if you have a strategy, I'm going to find building, put them under contract, line up big tenants, and then assign them. So what structure do you want? You want to do an LLC? Do you want to set up a real estate fund? You see? And then once you have the strategy and the structure, you got to have a system. What do I do first? The next. So you have predictable results. After you have a system, don't scale it now. Don't go big. There is a step between the system and scaling it, which is automating it. Automating is when you can step back and say, I can get a team of people, I can have a process for them to follow, I can have technology, and I can have certain training and certain tools, and now all this makes me step back. So now I have an automation going on. I can just raise the money and put it in this machine, and my team is getting these buildings and we're doing this. Now you can scale it, and then you can sustain it. So from strategy to structure, to system, to automation, to scale, to sustainability. I have reached sustainability doing the exact process because I saw the billionaire Edmond Bessari do it, and I said, that's how he's doing it. But I was humble enough to say, I need to start small, but I keep thinking big. And it took time, but time compounds the results. And then suddenly you have that tipping point. It's like, oh my God, I got enough income. And I'm still living on this, but I have so much more. So I'm going to reinvest until a point where you say, maybe I should buy that exotic car. Maybe I should because the assets are buying it. Not as soon as you make money, you go buy a Porsche and you go on social media showing everybody I got a Ferrari. What's the use?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Cool. All right. So we're gonna do the last final power round here of rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions and just tell me the first thing that pops up. So, what's your favorite asset class right now?
Favorite asset class continues to be mixed-use commercial buildings. Downstairs retail, upstairs residential or office or other use like medical.
Okay, amazing. All right, that's super cool. One book or resource that changed how you invest?
One book of resource changed how I invest. What book do I think of when I think of investing? I think a book that was great. I know it sounds silly, but it's the one How to Make Friends and Influence People. I mean, there are so many times you want to tell somebody off, but then I think of that book where I can tell somebody something like, "Oh, that's very interesting." Like the guy literally insults me, and I will use Dale Carnegie, the writer of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I'd say something, "Well, that's very interesting. Why would you tell me that?" And the person said, "Well, I can't believe you made me this offer." And then all of a sudden, we're starting to talk again, communicate again. So that book has been very influential for me to create what I call long-term relationships. Not just transactional, but long-term, where I can finish a transaction. I see the person a year later down the street and he's like all hugs, like, "Hey, how you doing? You're liking the building? What's going on? Let's have coffee." So that book really, really is very influential. Although I would like to say, sometimes in business, don't be too agreeable. Like the book is like how to make friends all the time. But sometimes you're going to have enemies and you have to accept that and deal with that as well. Because if you're too agreeable, people can pretend to agree with you, but take advantage a little bit. But thank you. Yeah, that's a good book. How to Win Friends.
Okay, amazing. I love your take on it. That was really cool. All right. So what's one strategy every investor should know? Tax strategy.
A tax strategy is that there are legal ways to reduce your taxes but don't be too creative with it, other than understanding that taxes are based on where you are sometimes. For instance, those who want to reduce their taxes, they're already making money. They will, if they really, really want to reduce taxes, they need to look into Act 60, offered by the United States territory, the US territory of Puerto Rico. It has the best tax incentives because when the United States took it over 100 years ago, they kept the Spanish system. In other words, we have IRS here, they have Hacienda. And under the Hacienda rules, they got approvals from Congress to create these tax incentives. And and so it's worth it maybe to go take residence in Puerto Rico. This is not for everybody. Like if you're a doctor and paying $1 million in taxes, you're still having a license in California or Texas or Florida or New York, wherever. So you may not be able to go in Puerto Rico to do the business. But I took residence in Puerto Rico, and I created the portfolio in Puerto Rico and created the headquarters, a full team. I mean, I pay $1 million in payroll there. I have a full team of accountants, in-house CPA, in-house attorneys, etc. But all my work goes there for real as a headquarter, and I spend there the required amount of time.
Yeah.
And that strategy is so powerful. It will reduce your financial life. Let's say you want to work 10 years to make maybe 5 million. Let's just say that's your goal. You can do it with the right tax strategy of being in Puerto Rico in 5 years or less. So it just transforms your life.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for that. And okay. And okay, so and last but not least, I just wanted to get a little bit of, what your vision is. Like what's next for you? You said you're liquidating assets, but what are you planning on doing? What are you getting into?
So yes, what I would like to do is reduce my inventory in Puerto Rico, because 30 buildings is a lot. So we've sold a few. Actually, we're just closing. We're supposed to close today, believe it or not, on 211 Crystal.
Oh wow.
But
Yeah.
it got pushed to Tuesday.
Okay.
So we pushed it out of the website. People even on that website, CREPR, they can see past properties or sold properties. I have a section there because people ask me about what I sold. And what I want to do is keep some there for cash flow and move the money here to start jumping on these great opportunities, because people are scared. And when people are scared, they freeze. So I see opportunities that are incredible. And my excitement is, thank God, my kids are young, so they're all excited. They love real estate. I don't want them to become doctors, engineers, or attorneys. That's just too much work.
Yeah.
My kids, I explain to them since their youth, study, learn, but do real estate. So they're very interested. They will watch this podcast, your great questions. They
That's cool.
participate in my joint
Thank
venture
you.
for retail. Yes.
Yeah.
And that, because they're young. My daughter is 18, my son is 17, and they're like very, very mature. And the opportunities I'll create here in California and in Texas and other places, they're going to be involved in. And what opportunities? Finding deals with a lot of margin of safety that I can cash flow from, whether single tenant or mixed use or shopping malls or hotels. Hotels are also great, great assets.
Okay, I love it. Okay, well, this is great. Cherif, tell us, where can we find you? What can we do if we want to get started with you in some way or another? And, just want to see, when you're doing some event, close,
Ah,
any.
great. You know what? I'm going to be doing an event in May in Atlanta. I was invited to speak. I'm just a speaker there, but it's a nice event. But anyway, people will know more if they go to www.cmrei.com. CMREI is in Cherif Medawar Real Estate Investing.com. It's not just about the training, it's about investing. Or they can go to cherifmedawar.com. It's spelled CHERIFMEDAWAR.com. And I'm easily found. I mean, if somebody puts my name, Cherif, even if they misspell it, Cherif Medawar, on YouTube, it will pop up all over the place. I'm easily found. My assistant, my VP, Ashley Jones, had been with me over 20 years. She handles the entire education company, a lot of the investing. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. You're very patient. I love your smile, and you encourage me to
Thank
say a
you.
lot more than I was ready to say.
Thank you, Sharif. I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, and hope we can stay in touch and you come on at some other time.
Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you.
Okay.